My name is Alma, and my hands are really cold right now. So, if you see me rubbing my hands, that's why. Maybe I'm nervous, maybe I'm anxious, and I'm just pretending that they are cold. Who knows? Excuse me. Anybody here for the first time? Any questions, any comments, anything to share? Any questions, any comments, anything to share? Any complaints, any concerns? Ooh, everybody raise their hand. So today, I picked this book from Pema Chodron, and it's called Comfortable with Uncertainty. And the topic that I picked is recognize suffering. Disappointment, embarrassment, and all the places where we cannot feel good are a sort of death. We have just lost our ground completely. We are unable to hold it together and feel that we are on top of things. Rather than realizing that it takes death for there to be birth, we just fight against the fear of death. Reaching our limit is not some kind of punishment. It's actually a sign of help that when we meet the place we are about to die, we feel fear and trembling. But usually, we don't take it as a message that it's time to stop struggling and look directly at what's threatening us. Things like disappointment and anxiety are messages telling us that we are about to go into unknown territory. When we get what we don't want, when we don't get what we do want, when we become ill, when we are getting old, when we are dying, when we see any of these things in our lives, we can recognize suffering as suffering. Then we can be curious, notice, and be mindful of our reactions. Our suffering is so grounded in our fear of impermanence. Our pain is so rooted in our lopsided view of reality. Whoever got the idea that we could have pleasure without pain, it's promoted rather widely in this world, and we buy it. But pain and pleasure go together. They are inseparable. They can be celebrated. They are ordinary. Birth is painful and delightful. Death is painful and delightful. Everything that ends is also the beginning of something else. Pain is not a punishment. Pleasure is not a reward. Anything to say about what I just read to you? Anything that comes to mind with what you just heard?
the line that really stuck out for me was pain is punishment. And I read something, I can't remember where or when, but it was along the same lines of just because you're not feeling good, you're feeling down, things aren't going how you want them to, it doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. That is just going to happen sometimes. And I think that's a good reminder, a good thing to keep in mind. That line really reminded me that you're not necessarily being punished, you're not necessarily doing anything wrong, you're just, no matter what you do, you're going to suffer at some point.
Yeah. I like the way you say it. It's like, oh, things are not going your way. That doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. Yeah, that part also resonated with me. And when I hear you talk right now, my mind goes to the suffering that we cause by making it mean. I don't even want to say it, making it mean. That is punishment. Like giving it the meaning and the significance and the heaviness and having like that first reaction. My mind went also to our biggest challenge as humans. We live in a 3D dual world mentality. If it's not going right, it's going wrong. As if there was no other choices. Because if I'm not happy, well, then you can pick your favorite. Miserable, sad, stressed. We experience more than 127 emotions per day. Yes, yes. But we usually get fixated in 2. And we usually pick 2. And we master those 2. My favorite ones are anger and sadness. So yeah, thank you for saying that. Anybody else that would like to contribute? Any questions, any comments about something else that comes to your mind? One of the reasons that I go back to this book quite a bit, it's because of the discomfort that I experience when I get present to how much meaning and significance I give to my circumstances. For example, on our first round of meditation, I got present to my annoyance. What happened was I had challenging phone calls at work. What I made it mean is, this is so annoying. And I went and wrote my eyes. So here I am, sitting in front of you, present to my annoyance, and I really got sad for a moment. And I was able to use my awareness to say, hi, sadness and annoyance, I'm here. I see you. And I was able to let it go when in fact my mind was telling me, oh my God, you're gonna start crying in front of everybody right now. You're gonna get caught up in your emotion and they're gonna see you cry. That's just totally fine with me. But it might not be fine with you. And it's just the meaning and the significance that I give to my thoughts and my emotions and my circumstances that can sometimes expand the suffering way too long. And I think that's where the punishment lands. And I think that's where the suffering gets extended. And we always go back to the phrase, pain exists, suffering is optional. This is why the Buddha took on impermanence, which is mentioned in the reading, impermanence as the axis to break through samsara, which is a cycle of suffering, which is where we get attached, which is I get attached to my outcomes, to my results, and my circumstances. And if they don't look the way I want them to, my goodness, my Buddha, my Krishna, you're big. And I think for me, impermanence, and I always say this in our volunteer reunions, it's my reason to be here, to volunteer, to practice. Because the only thing, it's a guarantee in life is impermanence. Everything is changing as we speak. And in the moments where I hold on, for example, when I was telling you, I'm holding on to my sadness and I'm thinking I'm going to cry in front of you. Of course, if I keep thinking about how sad I am, I'm probably going to make myself cry in front of you. But if I embrace it, if I witness my own emotion, my own thinking, then I hold space for myself. And I can hold space for you if I choose to. One of the things that grief and sadness wishes the most is to be witnessed. And I think that's in general for all our thoughts and emotions. We just need space to be witnessed. And that's why I like practicing what Zen Buddhism teaches about being the observer. Being the observer of your thoughts. Being the observer of your emotions, so that way you're able to say, hello sadness, I see you. Hello my grief, I embrace you. And that way you don't go into identifying yourself with those emotions, circumstances, or thoughts. And then you declare yourself the saddest person in the room. Or whatever title you give to yourself, right? I saw a couple of smiles, so I bet you have some places that you go. I saw you. Oh, worst luck. Whatever you tell to yourself. For me, it was, this is so annoying. Which is in the world of, I cannot handle this. I don't want to deal with this. Which is in the world of getting attached to my life looking the way I want. Including all my calls being perfect, and my clients saying what I need them to say, and going with whatever I want them. Thank you for calling. So blessed. I wish. Anybody else on that boat? Of wishing that everything flows how you want them to flow? Yeah. So in one of the moments I focused during meditation, I reconnected with this. The idea of Zen is to catch life as it flows. The idea of Zen is to catch life as it flows. The idea of Zen is to catch life as it flows. Any questions? Any comments? And yeah, but go for it.
What you were saying brought up something I heard once called it's a parable of the Chinese farmer. I heard Alan Watts share it once, and it really made an impact for me. And when I can be in my more wise thoughts, it really serves. You mentioned having two different emotions that you kind of tend to gravitate towards. My top one is probably anxiety, and it comes from a lot of different places. But if I can catch it, it presupposes that I know what's going to happen. If I really break apart whatever I'm frustrated with or anxious about, it's really a fear of things not working out or not going the way I want. But that's kind of a silly thought, because the small, infinitesimal fraction of perception I have about what's happening here is
tiny.
so tiny. I can never know what's going to happen. So me having a negative reaction to a circumstance, it just kind of seems foolish when you catch it that way. Doesn't feel like that day-to-day moment to moment, because I ping pong around it. But that parable sums that up really, really well. And as you were saying, that's what you kind of brought up in me, to kind of re-presence that. It's like you're going through struggles and concerns that those only exist in a sense of some kind of absolute omnipotence that I don't have. So if I don't have that, then there's no reaction that is either probably good or bad, because it doesn't, who knows where it's going to be.
Right, exactly. Obviously, besides checking in with your PCP and your mental health professional about anxiety usually in the world of Zen means that you're living in the future. Wow. And like you said, it's actually a power that not everybody has mastered it, that I know. And yeah, it's almost landing in the nonsensical aspect of our mind that was made to think, and that not being properly channeled, it can create a lot of good stories. Sell you with some facts. And like you said, sometimes you have tiny little information about the situation. However, you're so present to the fear, the anxiety, the emotion that is taking over, or that is, that you're being with. And that sense, I think, fear is also something that we are present to collectively, individually, for different reasons. Name it a fire that is happening locally, or the possibility of, losing your job, or whatever you're considering might be a threat to you. Because that's why we have stress responses. Because since we were in the caves, there was threats around us. And that was, I don't even want to say it, our way to cope with the threat. And the mechanism was, guess. What's your trauma response, your mechanism when you're dealing with stress? Tackle it? Go for it? No, we usually run away from it. No? Anybody here? Just me? Okay, cool. Run! Think about it. Complain about it. But it's in the same world of repetition. Not really in the world of resolution, most of the time. And that's one of the most devastating type of stress in our body, in our life. And most of us don't even recognize that some of the responses, like you said, anxiety might be part of my new way of being, when in fact it's just your nervous system sending you signals about things that are getting you out of balance, out of peace, triggering you, things that might have to be worked on. So again, meditation is an access to get present to those triggers, to those thoughts, to those emotions, to those circumstances that might be causing. Because again, it's the whole aspect of thoughts cause Emotions cause actions, and then actions, you evaluate what emotions are behind it and what thoughts are behind it. So again, whatever your flow is, that's one of the reasons that I'm here, to really get present to those things that are taking my power, or in other words, I'm giving my power to, which is usually in the world of anxiety, fear, concerns, stress, and all of that. Any other comments, any other questions, anything else to say? Yes.
So I just wanted to put out there, you mentioned fire, just as a gratitude for the rains last weekend. So I was, in case maybe folks maybe didn't mention that themselves or whatever, but very thankful for that. And what do you believe emotions are to you? Like, what are they exactly? You seem to talk a lot about them. I ask myself that same question, but what do you believe your emotions are? What are they?
Anybody else wants to answer that question? No? I'll do it for you. I want to give you two answers, so let me see. And just to give you some context, my background is in psychology.
Oh, all right.
Get out. Not just kidding. Not ever. However, my passion is energy healing. I'm a Reiki master. That's why I want to give you two answers, the science base and the other one. So I'm going to try to combine them. Energy. If you consider neuroscience and all the information about how our neurons are electrically charged, consider that emotions cause the same effect in you, especially anger. If you consider the amount of adrenaline that can charge you up really quick, it's energy. Energy that has to channel, that has to go somewhere. My second response was that emotions are responses. Responses that can be physically perceived, chemically perceived, and they might be caused by your thoughts. So especially at the level of neuroscience, the repetitiveness of your thoughts can definitely cause similar paths in your brain. Thank you to meditation and other techniques and neuroplasticity. Now we can actually build new connections, and the same thing happens with DNA and our ability to heal ourselves, repair ourselves. So again, it can be described as energy responses that can be due to a chemical response in your brain, or just overthinking, or just thinking about something. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, it seems like, it seems like a very neutral phenomenon the way you describe it. It's neither good nor bad.
Yes, exactly. And thank you for saying that, because I'm sorry, but good emotions and bad emotions is, what do we say? A story, right? When we are not perceiving, and how you were saying, pain is not a punishment, it's just a response. So if you say, oh, this response, this emotion is bad, it's because consider that in your world, you don't like it. It's confronting you with something. And it's just a meaning that you're giving it to the emotion. Yes, there's dense emotions like sadness, anger, fear that have lower vibration in the body. Yes, there's high vibration emotions like love and openness and nurturing and unconditional love, all of that. Yes, you can feel the difference in the body. Yes. Do they get stored in the body when you don't process them? Yes. Can we clear them after? Yes. Reiki helps. And breathing. One of my axes to process the annoyance was to mark the exhale. And maybe Meredith heard me. Yeah, okay. And even animals do the same. Check your dogs and cats. When they sigh, they are regulated. Their nervous system, they are letting go. Humans, we usually don't mark the except, we hold up. So just check yourself next time. Okay? Anything else to say? Anything else to add? Let's do this. Questions, any comments, anything to say?
Just want to say thank you for leading tonight and holding space for us tonight.
For being here. Anybody else wants to be acknowledged? No? Anybody else has anything to say? In the world of impermanence and our ability to master our emotions, something that came to mind when we were sharing about what I read and getting person to suffering, what came to mind was emotional resilience. Does anybody know what emotional resilience is? You can use Google. Do you know what emotional intelligence is? Or have you heard about emotional intelligence?
It's just the ability to recognize and manage the emotions of other people.
Ding, 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 ding. Yes. Gold star on your report. Did you see recognize and manage? Yes, right? Recognize and manage, recognize and manage. Recognize. That's where the awareness we're bringing in tonight comes in. Manage. That's where the awareness that we're practicing today comes in. It's not the same letting my emotions take over than being aware of my emotions, the impact they have on me, the impact they have on my actions and words, and the impact that my actions and words emotionally charged have on others. Did you get all of that? The more we sit with ourselves in practice, the more we're able to recognize and manage our own emotions. Guess what? Have you heard about being emotionally available? It's a thing. Not everybody's doing it. But the more I sit with my own emotions, the more I witness my own thoughts, emotions, and actions, the more awareness I create, the more I recognize and manage that, the more I'm able to do it for others, if I choose to. And that's the world I want to live in. Yay! You guys want to play? Emotional resilience is that, recognizing, managing your emotions. Emotional intelligence is that. Being emotionally available is saying, hey, listen, I see that you're going through something. It might be sadness. I'm here for you. I don't know what to say right now, but I'm here for you. I wanted to hear that today. But instead I heard, you need to work on your mood. You seem anxious. And then I said, my circumstances right now are getting me present to fear, which is definitely impactful to my nervous system. I might not have control over those circumstances, but I'm working on my emotions and my reactions. Thank you, Mom. And I'm also going to therapy. And I'm also telling you right now in case you need to call me out as well. And I'm here to practice that. So thank you for being here. And thank you for taking on your own practice. I think, anything else to say? Perfect. I want to get greedy and do another round of meditation and then still see if I can allow Ricky to do the announcements. So let's play. Let's do another few minutes of meditation, okay? Last call to share. Anybody? Going once? Going twice? Friendly reminder, it doesn't matter if you do meditation for 10 minutes, 8 minutes, 5 minutes. still works. And if you feel like it didn't, do it again. Thank you for being here, Vicky. Do you want to do the announcements?
I have my little closing announcement.